All right, my peoples. Jesus came that you may have balls and balls more abundantly. What's going on, brothers and sisters? Everything that's going on this planet is about genetics. It's about genes. The genie is in the genes. Today I get to introduce the dragon code, which is now the dragon digits. How do they take blood, dumb it down, slow it down, or put it into congealed light and turn light into a five zeros? Zero represents ovaries or punani, and one represents penis, pixels. This is the divine source versus the dragon code. The dragon, Cain versus Abel. Positive versus negative. High vibration versus low vibration. This is the grammatically, genetically construct. Because in the beginning was grammar, or grammar. This is breath. The breath of source. The breath of God. Versus the code. The blood of the fallen. My brothers and sisters, bloodlines were born. But only one bloodline came from source. All the other bloodlines came from the anti-source. Now, there's only one frequency, one wave, one verb, one vibration. But you are allowed to experience different genetically guided programming experiences based upon how you choose to express, expose, and expand yourself in this dimension. So this dimension is a dimension, according to the Helios Biblios of the Bible, according to the Zohar, according to the Book of Jubilees, according to the Book of Enoch, according to the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Almighty texts and all of the ancient texts. It talks about Genesis 6:4, those who from heaven or above came down to earth, and they saw the daughters of men, and something was in their balls, their seed. The Bible talks about the seed. It talks about something bruising the head of the serpent. This is a war, if you want that term. This is a battle, if you want that term, of seeds. Seeds are like thoughts. So you can plant positive seeds or negative seeds. When you look at what's going on with the melanated community, what's going on right now with the Orange Julius, what's going on in the world today, why have melanated people been demonized since the beginning of time all over the galaxy? Because there is a genetic, let's use the word, a genetic inferiority in one expression, and then there is a genetic superiority in another expression based upon biology. Again, I'm just regurgitating what biology says. One genetic expression, again, is not self-replicating, and one is. And so what we're talking about is over an understanding that the serpent, the watchers, a being, a frequency, a wave, a vibration, not of a higher level, or not of God, but it's a frequency, wave, verbal vibration. Some call it Samael, the blind god. Many different names. Beelzebub, Asmodeus, Leviathan, Belphegor, a plethora of names. And we know that names are labels, and labels are limits. To the degree that you're able to over and understand the state meant, the mental state that determine your or destiny. Each and every frequency, each and every wave, each and every verb, each and every vibration on this planet must over and understand the genetic superiority and the genetic insuperiority. This is a battle about establishing higher level frequencies on this planet. So Cain was not Adam's son, especially when you go outside of the traditional helios, biblios, where you get another expression. You get another frequency, another wave, another verbal vibration. It's a different way of seeding the world. It's a different way of seeding. So this is about seeding or seeing. So seeding and seeing. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about seeding and seeing. The ability to see is based upon seed. That is why there's a war going on between specific seeds. This is a genetic, the dragon code versus the God breath. Once you over and understand at the highest level of the game, it's about an identity shift. The God breath. When God blew the breath of life. So we're talking about a totally different way of seeding and seeing the frequency, wave, and vibration that we call the world. And so what's happening right now as we speak, you have an opportunity to be able to over and understand that there's something about the seed inside of melanated frequencies, waves, verbs, and vibrations. And that's what the bloodline is all about. It's about over and understanding that this is a galactic war. It's just not on this one dimension. So Cain killed Abel, but it wasn't about, jealousy. It was about seed. It was about inheritance. Abel carried the breath of the Creator. Cain carried the code of the fallen. Now that's deep kimchi. The average Alkebulan, again, brain is not able to oscillate and vibrate on that frequency range. And most people that we're talking about, what I'm talking about today, is difficult for the average Alkebulan to be able to wrap their brain around. And I understand. Look how long it took me to get to this level to accept. I've been at this level of awareness, but I could not accept it's not possible that this is true. So like most people, I reject it. Even though source code gave me this level of awareness a long time ago, and I've always been able to see the forest for the trees. And so inside of the book, you want to pick up the book. I got a 5-book offer today where you pick up 5 books that break all of this down for only $1.99. Normally sells for $9.99. So you get to pick up all of the books that are, especially my book, The Vatican, and my book, The Cosmic Grotto, that breaks all of this down and introduces this to you. My book, Abracus, my book, Genie and the Genes. All we're talking about is giving you the keys to assist you with over and understanding what is really going on in the world today. This whole, everything that's happening, that's what it's all about. It's all about seed. It's all about genes. It's all about the genetic, let's use the word marker. This genetic markers, the ability for you to be able to understand, because people perish for lack of knowledge. Notice there's no demons, no devils. It's a lack of knowledge. I broke that down in an earlier show. So everything on this planet is all about over and understanding this knowledge. The inability for you to operate and to vibrate, to establish a frequency, wave, verb, vibration that allows you to connect with the highest level or the highest vibration that we call God or we call source. That's it. The whole purpose is how you self-identify. But you need, again, as I talked about, be still and know that I am God. So you become God when you know how to be still. Now, I got to say that again, very slow for the frequencies, waves, verbs, and vibrations in the back. You become God when you know how to be still, when you learn it. It's not something that, again, the average individual over, under, and understands. That's why it's extremely, difficult for most people to process. It's very, very difficult for people to process because we see ourselves as God. We don't see ourselves as, excuse me, individualized versions of a bigger version. And so what happens, since you can't see it, you can't be it. And you can't seed it. It's all about seeding. Seeding, again, is like believing. The ability for you to seed, to plant your seed. Seeding. Seeding and seeing are the same thing. That is the dragon code. The dragon code is all about seed. Seed versus seed. And it's CEE and it is CEA. That is the dragon code. That's why digits and binary digital beats are zeros and one. 0 represents the female vagina. The 1 represents the male penis. And we see that all throughout the you and I verse. It's everywhere. But the first thing starts with under, over, and understanding what was really left out of the Bible. And I talk about that inside of all of the 5 books, which is why I'm doing that 5-book offer today. So you can pick up all 5 of these books to break all of this down so you can really, really, really get a crystal clear view of under, over, and understanding, the importance of what we're talking about. So that was a mark placed upon Cain based upon the biblical text. And the mark is a genetic identifier. It's a genetic, let's use the word inferior genetic code. Because it's not a genetic code that is what we call self-replicating. Because there are certain individuals that, the sun is not very benevolent towards them. It's not very vibrational friendly. My job is to understand that we're talking about understanding that was a frequency wave vibration that built, that kept the sheep. The other one built cities. We're talking about Cain and Abel. But after Cain slew Abel, we know that there was Seth. And so what happened is there isn't this over, under, and understanding of the bloodline of Seth. And what we're talking about now is as you and I are going to a higher level of awareness just because of what's going on in the world today. And so it's forcing us to step outside of the basic teachings and to expand our consciousness and understand how bloodlines were guarded. They were hidden. The bloodline, the Bible talks about the flood. The flood came onto the earth to wipe out a specific bloodline, but obviously it did not. And in the book of Enoch, it goes even further. And the book of Enoch breaks it down and really reveals, explains, illuminates, and simplifies the importance of understanding how this bloodline has been established for the specific purpose of overriding the light. And so, excuse me, this bloodline now is being transferred because it used to be grammatical or grammar. That's how the bloodline was, it was but done and it has been established and it has kept because of what we call math, music, and language. Now, math, music, and language is going to be replaced, has been replaced with zeros and ones. And so now the blood of a specific, forbidden knowledge, sorcery, and everything that talks about in the book of Enoch, because the book of Enoch talks about the fallen angels who descended and made it with human women. And their offspring there was these giants. It was part celestial and part terrestrial. And they taught, forbidden knowledge. And this forbidden knowledge, again, is what spread throughout. And then this frequency wave vibration, this knowledge, again, became hidden. It went underground, so to speak. But it's still here. Even now, today, as we speak, this knowledge that's being run. So everybody that reaches a certain level of wealth, health, wisdom, and relationships, they do so by operating in a certain mental disposition. So people are not based upon talent anymore. To be successful in this world, you got to be a part of that specific bloodline, to be of that specific frequency, of that specific wave, that specific verb, and that specific vibration. And if you're not a part of that specific frequency, that specific wave, and that vibration, then you're not, let's use the word, eligible to be a part of that, of the higher level of what we call success. We see it in sports. We see it in music. You see it everywhere. What do you see? You see that in order to get to a certain level in this world, to be successful in this world, you got to have access to, or you got to be a part of a certain, let's use the word, secret society, for lack of a better term. And so that is the way by which their system operates on this dimension. So when you're part of the light, when you're part of Yahushua HaMashiach, when you're part of under over understanding that you one with God, and you're not buying into the Council of Nicaea and this Greco-Roman Constantine that rewrote the scripture and the Roman Empire and Vatican control and all of the stuff that's going on, you become a part of, and you're no longer under the papal bull, you're no longer under the bloodline of the dragon, you're operating under the bloodline of Yahushua or Melchizedek or Melchizedek. So now that's a totally different way of seeing the world. That's a totally different way of processing information. And so they're now extending their reign by infiltrating the light using artificial intelligence. And so what the book talks about, what's going on in the world, is how biology is merging with AI. This ancient code, this dragon race is merging with machine in order to basically intermingle this AI and genetic editing. The serpent line is invoking a way of existing using machine intelligence. And so your job is to be aware and don't fall for all of the synthetic program and the bio-digital, IDs and the Neuralink and CRISPR-9 and all of the other things that are coming along in the name of convenience. But the purpose of the convenience is to rob you of your sovereignty, to rob you of the genetic superiority that was placed inside of you by the highest frequency, which is Yahushua the HaMashiach, or God eternal within the body. And so now we are able to over and understand, if God be for us, who can be against us? That just simply means that when you wake up and when you say no to all of the low vibrational and you reclaim the original divine spark inside of you, then you realize that you have sovereignty. It's you carry something that the dragons never could. And it's not, wealth, none of this worldly stuff. This original spark, the original breath of life that existed before the fall, is the divine memory that they are trying to copy and that they're trying to clone. The divine memory, that divine spark, that flame inside of you purifies you. And it allows you to see that you are a individual expression of God on earth. You have a higher frequency, higher wave, higher verb, and higher vibration. So now you're operating and vibrating on a higher level. So now you're on the level, quote unquote, where there is no devil. And on that level, that's how you are able to be successful. Not only you're in this world, but now you are not of this world. You're able to separate yourself without losing yourself, because now you cease from striving. You stop trying to get something and you just exude. You just be. You just remember. Now you're in a place where you are sending out such a high vibrational, such a positive, upbeat frequency of love, joy, peace, gentleness, meekness, and self-control. This love, this joy, this peace, it just bubble up because of your identity. It's not because of events, because of what happens outside of you. It's about the mindset that's maintained inside of you. That mindset that you are God eternal within the body. That mindset that you have the same mind that Christ had. That mindset is what the enemy doesn't like. And so this whole series is about you constructing a mental disposition that is the exact same as Yahushua the HaMashiach. Once you get to that level, bam, there's no devil. There's no war, because you are like, be still, because you have knowledge of God. Be still and know that I am God. So when you get the right knowledge, you're able to be still because you know you're God, just like the scripture says. Man, I love you. I appreciate you. Make sure you pick up the 5 books. The sale goes on today, and we do the today, and our today is November the 8th. Actually, November the 8th and November the 9th, if I can get it out. November the 8th and November the 9th, pick up all 5 books that breaks down the bloodline, what happened to prior to 1611, breaks down Samael the blind God, gives you a deeper understanding of some of the Gnostic texts, some of the Sethian Gospels, some of the Nag Hammadi, the Dead Sea Scrolls, so that way you can operate inside of a brand new identity. When you get a brand new identity, you're now, the way that you identify, the way that you describe yourself is the exact same way that God describes him, her, or itself. From that description, you gain access to a level of knowledge. That level of knowledge gives you access to a mental disposition where you're able to be, you stop struggling, you stop striving, you stop trying to get, and you attract. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm at the top grinding and shining. Come join me. Holla at your boy.